Hi, I'm Whitney Otto. I'm an executive and life coach, and I'm vlogging for Nourishing Foundations. And the first question is, what does a well-nourished life look like for you? And I would say that if you'd asked me this before I had children, I could answer this very concretely with my routines and the things that I regularly did involving exercise and diet and self-care. But since I've had children, my oldest is 4, my oldest is 5, and my youngest is 4. I would say that is constantly changing. And there's times when I have not been well nourished, and at times when my priority has been them being well nourished, and sometimes I don't get to my nourishment. But ideally, there's 4 things. Exercise. So for me, exercise is very important. And when they were little, that looked like walking around the pond or maybe running around the pond for their naps. That's near my house, the pond near my house. Now, ideally, it's group exercise classes or yoga classes or something where somebody else is motivating me and I can push myself. But that's changed, right? There's been times when I'm doing jumping jacks and running up and down the stairs just to get my heart rate up and get some sort of exercise benefit, right? There's times when I don't get to it. So it's imperfect and it's always changing and it's always in flux, but it's something that I prioritize and try and create time for because it really makes a difference in my well-being. The second thing I would say for me is having a place where I can go, always working with a coach or a therapist when I need it, right? Having access to that or being willing to reach out and receive help in that way. And but there's been times when I've just needed body work, particularly after having kids, just to kind of put things back together. It's amazing how long that takes. And fourthly, it's having friends, connections, people in my life with whom I can be real, right? There's, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. And then there's, yeah, I'm not fine. And here's what's going on. And getting that support and offering other people that support. So those are the 4 things I strive for, the exercise, places to grow and heal for body and mind, and then sustaining connections and communities. Those are the pieces, and I do it imperfectly. And again, there's times when I feel like I'm not particularly well nourished, and there's times when I feel very well resourced. So the next question, from your perspective, what is one thing that busy moms can do to increase a sense of health and happiness? And I think this is just something you answer on an individual basis based on where you are in the moment. And I think people know what that is for them. And sometimes it's just a matter of accepting that or prioritizing that or prioritizing oneself. And the other component of that, I think, is good enough. If we're going to, there's so many pressures on mothers and women, in terms of what your body is supposed to look like, your career is supposed to look like, your parenting is supposed to look like, your house is supposed to look like, the meals are supposed to look like, the toxins you're supposed to avoid. It's sort of endless. And no one person can do all of that well, I don't believe. So it's a matter of sort of figuring out what categories you want to be good enough in, and that might change, right? There's times when my kids are sick and I got to be good enough at work, and there's times when work's really demanding and I have to be good enough at my parenting, and there's many times when I am just good enough at my housekeeping, and good enough at meal preparation, which is where Nourishing Foundations has been really helpful. So I think being willing to be good enough so that there's places so we can get to all of it and focus on the things that are most important to us, and knowing that is constantly in flux and being okay with that. I think accepting that and working within that has really helped me maintain nourishment. And the last question is, what is your favorite recipe? And so it's actually a Nourishing Foundations recipe, the coconut curry chicken. I love it because it's flavorful and salty. I love salt, and it's a little sweet with the coconut, and you've got your vegetables and your protein and your fat and everything in there. And I rarely have leftovers, so I can't recommend that one highly enough. Thanks.